Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher and this is Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, a brand new amplifier from Orange. Let's get started. Our amplifier today is the CR60, part of the Crush Pro series from Orange. It's a solid-state amplifier that has two channels that are both based on the reverb. The CR60 has a built-in digital reverb. It has three different settings. There's a plate setting, a hall setting, and a spring setting. As I mentioned, it has 60 watts of power, a single 12-inch speaker. It's a Voice of the World speaker from Orange. It also has an effects loop. And again, we have those two channels. There's a clean channel with a single volume control and a bass and a treble control. Then there's a dirty channel, which has a 3-band EQ and gain and volume controls. There's also a master volume control, so you can balance the level of those two channels and still get the master volume set where you need it to be for your gig or for your session. Let's listen to some of the sounds of the CR60. I'll be playing a Paul Reed Smith Modern Eagle 2, and we'll start with the clean channel. It's a nice clean sound with a lot of headroom. We can get plenty loud with this amplifier with that 60-watt solid-state amplifier. It doesn't break up till you start to crank up the volume a bit. At that point, we get the edge of distortion and a little bit of crunch coming out of it. But if you want real gain out of this amp, you're going to want to switch over to the dirty channel. Now, a nice part of this amplifier is that built-in digital reverb. As I mentioned, it has three different settings. I'm on the plate setting here. It's a nice emulation of a plate with a smooth sound and that modulation on the tail you can kind of hear coming in there, just as you would with a real plate. Now we'll switch over to the hall setting. It's a rich sound that emulates the tail of a real room. You can hear the room kind of expanding as you're sitting here listening to the amp and the tail of that reverb. For our final reverb setting, we've got a spring reverb, which emulates the reverb tank that's found in most combo amplifiers. Now we'll switch over to the dirty channel and listen to some of the crunch and lead tones you can get out of this amp. I've got the gain set to about 50%, and it's a nice crunchy tone with a lot of sustain and a lot of rich harmonics. But let's back the gain off a little bit and listen to a crunchier tone. Here I'm set to about 25% gain. We'll turn up the volume just a little bit. It's a nice punchy tone that really jumps out of the amplifier. Not a lot of fuzz on top, but it has a lot of projection and again has a lot of presence as it comes out of the amplifier. Now we'll bring the gain back up to 50%. Back our volume off a bit. Now we're getting into a heavier rhythm tone with a lot more gain to it, and this is a tone that would also work well for leads. Plenty of singing sustain there, and we can tailor this tone using the tone controls. I've got everything set to about 12 o'clock here, but we can bring up the low end, bring up the high end, get a little bit more bottom end and a little more articulation out of it. or by bringing up the mid-range, we can get more punch out of the amp. Now we'll bring the gain up to about 75%. We'll put our tone controls back to 12 o'clock. That's a fat singing tone that has a lot of harmonics. You can hear how pick harmonics really just jump out as soon as you hit those on the string. Yet it's still touch sensitive, and it allows you to have nice articulation as well. With all those harmonics and all that sustain, it's ready to jump into feedback at a moment's notice. Now we'll turn the gain all the way up. That's a really fat singing tone that's great for high gain lead playing, whether you're on the bridge pickup or the neck pickup. You have great articulation, but all the sustain and all the gain you could possibly want. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.